Good morning. So this is kind of a success story um, audio. I remember a recording on um, Abraham Hicks where she had received a call and she was trying to help a woman kind of change her energy and her vibration, and the woman just wasn't receptive. She was trying to get her to think about blue glass. She was trying to get her to think about feathers. She was trying to get her to think about butterflies. And the woman just wasn't having it. She ended up getting off the phone and, what do you call it? And she believes that they even asked for a refund. Um, and when she was trying to get her to talk about blue glass, she was going into great depth about different sizes, different shades, different colors, different transparencies, etc., etc. When she wanted her to think about butterflies, she talked about different types of butterflies, different sizes of butterflies, you know, different visions of butterflies. When she talked about feathers, same. So the woman got off the phone, probably with no benefit of it at all. And then later on in the day, her and her husband, the woman and her husband, went to go have lunch, and they walked across. Well, they were on their way to this restaurant that they really like, and there's a store that Esther felt compelled to go into, and so they went in, and she, for whatever reason, was drawn straight back to the back of the room, and it was a wall full of blue glass. Then they walked across a grass courtyard, or a grass, you know, picnic area or whatever, and they went through a mass of butterflies, so much so that they said they had to close their mouth so not to eat butterflies. And then while they were still on their way to the beach, and still in this grass area, a little boy about 3 years old came running up to her holding a feather and gave her the feather. And it wasn't until then she realized that all the things that were just coming into her presence were because she tried to get somebody else to put them in her vibration, and it didn't work, but now they're clearly present in Esther's vibration. So I do kind of tricks like that too, and when I want something, I'll ask for something as like a breadcrumb, like show me the crumb trail. And so I decided I wanted to see a die cast little fire truck that was like a planter in front of somebody's house. Now, if you've already heard one that sounds like this, this is like the evolution of that. So don't click off like, oh, I've already heard this one. Because now the manifestations are occurring, but there's a better story involved. So I'm looking for the fire truck, and I'm not looking, because that's the trick too, is you can't actually like scan everybody's front yard, and be like, do you have one? Do you have one? But you can, glance over at people's yards and just kind of like take in the details of how people decorate. You don't realize what people actually put out as decor. I never have noticed before the amount of decor that people have. Or even taking in the details of them. So one of the things that kept happening was I kept seeing fire hydrants. I wasn't finding my fire truck. I was finding fire hydrants. And then I saw a couple fireman little miniature statues. And then I even saw a statue of a Dalmatian near a fireman statue. So I know it was like connected to fire, fire truck, fire station, fire company. And I took that as yet another crumb. It was a crumb closer to the beginning of the trail, because obviously when I want to arrive at the fire truck. So I was telling one of my students about this, because she also believes in my manifestational powers, in the sense that she's been a witness to me wanting something, me putting my mind to that, and then leaving it alone, and then having it happen. And she thinks I'm very strong. She says that, you have very powerful energy. So I was helping her, because she now is questioning what she needs to do to get to the next phase in her life. She's looking for more things. She's concerned about some things, which that is not a vibration you want to carry. So I was trying to help her out of that concern vibration and try to change her into a expectational vibration, a vibration where you're looking for something and knowing that when you see it, it's going to bring you immediate joy and exhilaration. So I was telling her, why don't you just pick something? So I was telling her about my fire truck thing, and I couldn't even remember actually what I wanted if I saw the fire truck. I couldn't even remember what that was supposed to be connected to when I was telling her the story. I knew it was either I wanted somebody to call me that had a mare and foal, that they had heard that I wanted to help a mare and foal, and they were calling me to make those arrangements with me, or I wanted to increase my business. I wanted new clientele, and but I couldn't remember specifically which one it was, and that's probably why I was having a hard time finding the fire truck. A hard time, really, like not really, like a day later, or maybe even that day. But anyway, while I was talking to her, I was telling her, pick something, and it'll start coming into your experience. And by doing that, it's kind of showing you that you can pick something you want to see. You can put it in your experience. You can put it in your experience. You can put it in your vibrational path. And once you start getting on the path of the things that you pick out, it's going to help you get to where you're really trying to go, because you've placed it in your mind as something that's leading to the other thing that you want. So knowing that my fire truck is leading me to new clientele, or leading me to somebody calling me about a mare and a foal, knowing that that's what it's leading to helps continue the vibration forward. So, like, I'm looking at a fire hydrant right now. So I told her, how about, like, just off the top of my head, I said hummingbirds. There, I just passed a hummingbird feeder right as I just said that. And within seconds of saying hummingbirds to her, she said she wants to see a snake. And I said, she actually owns pet snakes, but she wants to see a wild snake. And I said, all right, well, there's your thing. There's your crumb. Now you'll start to find snakes. You'll lift a water tub, there'll be a snake under it or whatever. And I told her, I said, now I'm going to start to see snakes. Well, what happened was I told her hummingbirds, and I went into, like, the Abraham Hicks, I went into detail about, seeing some just sitting on a perch, seeing some fluttering at a feeder. I was, like, being pretty descriptive about hummingbirds. 7 minutes later, I passed a restaurant called the Hummingbird something. Just the word hummingbird caught my eye. I didn't read the whole sign. Then I saw a house I went past that had hummingbird decorations outside. Then I went past another house that had a hummingbird feeder. Then I went past another house that also had hummingbird decorations. And I was just like, are you kidding me? So I called her up and said, well, now I'm seeing hummingbirds. I don't know that she's seen any. She said she went to Tractor Supply or something, and she saw a hummingbird feeder, and immediately thought of me. It wasn't really the game plan, but that's fine too. I don't mind if she thinks about me. So anyway, I started seeing my fire trucks now. So I've seen like 4 of them so far. I mean, I was seeing fire hydrants. In fact, I even saw one of those inflatable things on somebody's front porch of a fire hydrant. And I'm like, it never even occurred to me to have fire hydrant as a decoration, but it was cool to see how many people do. So then I get somebody reaches out to me and is interested in starting a lesson. Then somebody reaches out to me that I had reached out to a week earlier who didn't respond. So I just thought, I guess our business is done, because the horse that I used to work with, she rehomed, and maybe that was the only interest she had in me. So when I reached out just to say hello, how are things going, and she didn't respond, I just kind of said, well, I guess, that's where our relationship ended. I was thinking about her that day because I was in the area that she lives in, which is about 53 minutes away from my house. And I was thinking I would love to text her and see how she's doing. But I remember that I had without a response, so I wasn't going to bother her. That night, she texted me, not only to say she was sorry that she didn't respond to me, that it was one of those things where she saw it, didn't have a chance to respond in that moment, and then forgot. And I've had that happen. I don't hold it against anybody for doing that. And then went on to say, I have a project for you, and then told me about a horse. So now, it might have even been the same day that I was doing the hummingbird thing with my friend, that these two people reached out to me and said they were interested. And then just the next day or 2 days later, I had appointments to meet the two new horses. So my fire truck adventure resulted in what it was supposed to. Then I was talking to this girl again. So, have you seen anything about hummingbirds? Have you seen any snakes? I keep seeing hummingbirds. I keep seeing everything to do with hummingbirds and whatever. And I got off the phone with her because my boss had called, because I have an outside job as well. My boss had called. I got off the phone with her. While I was on the phone with my boss, I got a message on Facebook about a mare and a foal. And I was like, are you kidding me? Then, either while I was on the phone with her or in a lull, because we talked quite a bit yesterday, so we were on the phone, off the phone, on the phone, off the phone. There might have been during a lull. I got another message on Facebook from somebody who lives about 4.5, 5 hours away, who was looking to see if I would be interested in doing video lessons with her, which is something else I've been trying to launch. So I'm like, this is super cool. Like, these are your success stories. These aren't coincidences. These are things where you set a definite trajectory of, this is what I want this to mean when I see it. And that's your breadcrumb on the path to what you want. And when you start finding breadcrumbs, it means you're on the path. It keeps you feeling forward momentum towards what it is you're hoping to encounter. Because I hoped to encounter a fire truck. I hoped to encounter something fire company related. Actually, I didn't hope to encounter hummingbirds, but I hoped by talking to somebody else, they were going to start to encounter hummingbirds, but I started to encounter hummingbirds. And it might be the path of least resistance, because I was actually starting to look for the fire trucks, right? I was even seeing live fire trucks. I was even passing, fire truck crossing when flashing signs that were flashing, but there were no fire trucks. I was seeing these things happen. But I think I was putting too much value on the wanting of it, and maybe I released some of the resistance by talking about the hummingbirds and having that not mean anything for me, and then my path was clear for the hummingbirds, and then all the things that the fire trucks are supposed to represent started to come to me. I'm telling you, I wish I could just tap people on the head with a stick and say, try it. Just try it. What do you have to lose? You know what I mean? It's not faith-based. You know what I mean? You're not going against your religion. You're not going against anything that you've ever been taught. It's a game. See it as a game. I'd like to play this game with myself today. I'm taking a drive for 2 hours, and I would like to see a bald eagle. If you believe you'll see one, you'll see one. And, now my luck, I'm going to, and I don't think badly of it at all, but now I'm going to see bald eagles because I just said I'd like to see a bald eagle. You know what I mean? Because I just implied that I'd like to see a bald eagle. Just try it. Like I said, what do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose by just putting it out there, like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if I saw a bald eagle today? Wouldn't it be cool if I saw a juvenile bald eagle today? Wouldn't it be cool if I saw a couple bald eagles together today? If you think the likelihood of you seeing a bald eagle is great because you're in an area where you would see them often, then I'd like to see a couple of them together. I'd like to see, an adult and a couple juveniles together. Like something like that. And you set it, and then you forget it. And then when you see your bald eagle, you're going to be like, oh my God. And then if you put any connection to what seeing the bald eagle is on the path of, then it's exciting because you just got your first breadcrumb on your path towards whatever it is that you were asking for. The trick of asking is not asking from a lackful place. You have to ask from a abundance place. So I'm looking forward to expanding my clientele, and I'm looking forward to bringing in new students, and I'm looking forward to meeting new horses, and I'm looking forward to spending time with new, eager to learn people, as opposed to, oh man, I really need to get some clients, like my money. If you start attracting it that way, like, if I were to ask you why you wanted something and you'd come from a lackful place, well, that's your vibration. Your vibration isn't in the abundance place. Your vibration's in the lackful place. So that's where you have to train the way you think and the way you talk and the way your vibration works. So anyway, I'm arriving to where I have to be, and I'm going to get off this audio. I just wanted to try to encourage people to just try something. Just try it. It's a game. Try it. It can't hurt. You're not going to disappoint anyone in your decision to do that. You're not changing faith. You're not going against any rules of any religion or anything like that. You're just playing a game. And then watch, because the outcome is fun. It's just fun. All right. Have a great day.